All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. And so we're just going to do another Velocity Banking review for today. This time with an emphasis on myths and lies about Velocity Banking. So I'm just going to ask ChatGPT here. Can you quickly state some myths and outright lies about Velocity Banking that one might hear from YouTube gurus? All right, so let's ask that. Hit enter and ooh, this is pretty good. All right, let's go ahead and read it.
Here are some myths and outright lies about velocity banking often spread by certain YouTube gurus. 1. You don't need any budgeting or discipline. Reality: velocity banking requires careful planning and discipline to manage cash flow effectively. 2. Anyone can do it, even with bad credit. Reality: a decent credit score is essential to qualify for a HELOC or low-interest loan, which is the cornerstone of the strategy. 3. It's a guaranteed way to get rich or pay off debt instantly. Reality: velocity banking accelerates debt repayment, but it's not magic. It still requires consistent effort and cash flow. 4. You need to replace your mortgage with a HELOC immediately. Reality: not always true. Some situations call for keeping your mortgage while using the HELOC strategically for chunks. 5. You should always max out your HELOC. Reality: over-leveraging can be dangerous, especially if unexpected expenses or rate hikes occur. 6. HELOC interest rates don't matter. Reality: high HELOC rates can make this strategy less effective or even counterproductive. 7. Velocity banking works for everyone, regardless of income or expenses. Reality: if someone has low cash flow or high expenses, the strategy may not work as advertised. 8. Banks don't care how much you draw from your HELOC. Reality: banks may freeze or lower HELOC limits based on market conditions or your credit behavior. 9. You don't need to track your finances or cash flow. Reality: this strategy demands meticulous tracking of income, expenses, and payment schedules. 10. Velocity banking is risk-free. Reality: like any financial strategy, it involves risks, especially if you fail to manage your debt responsibly. These misconceptions can mislead people into thinking velocity banking is a quick fix or universally applicable without understanding its nuances.
Yeah, this is a pretty great list. So I'm just going to cover a few things. Number one, you don't need any budgeting or discipline. That's a big myth because every time we do a velocity banking video, we're always doing a budget. What is 90% of videos essentially budgeting, right? So that's one myth. Number two, anyone can do it even with bad credit. I've never said that before. I've always told you all that banks won't lend money to people who need it. So if you ever want a line of credit, such as a home equity personal, to do this strategy, you got to have a good foundation. So it's going to be very hard to do this with bad credit. In fact, what would probably happen is you pay off your debt, be disciplined, and then you get a line of credit, and then that'll make your life easier, right? Number three, guaranteed way to get rich or pay off debt instantly. I don't think I've ever said that before. It requires consistent effort and cash flow. That's correct. Oh, this is the number one for me. You need to replace your mortgage with the HELOC immediately. This is like the number one lie myth that I think like here's the other thing. Here's the thing. Like you can take this list and most of it could be like, hey, you could kind of blindly tell people to kind of do it. But this is the one that if you don't know what's going on can screw you up, right? So you need to replace your mortgage with the HELOC immediately. No, that's very bad. Okay. Maxing out the HELOC, that could be dangerous, but again, if you have 30% debt and an 8% HELOC, I'm not giving you any advice, but for me, I might try to max it out, right? Number six, HELOC interest rates don't matter. Yes, they do matter because I definitely take an 8% or 7% HELOC over an 18% HELOC. And velocity banking works for everyone, regardless of income or expenses. Um, yeah, it doesn't work for everyone. Okay. I remember I had a situation where somebody was definitely negative cash flowing for a period of time because they were expected to make income for a debt that they had and they had to wait a year. Right. So It will work when you got the income and the cash flow, but it ain't gonna work if you don't have the cash flow, right? So that's with regardless of income expenses. And banks don't care how much you draw from a HELOC. Well, I haven't had experienced this, but it could happen, right? I mean, one of the reasons why they froze a lot of HELOCs is because the market itself was going down, down, down. So the value of your home, and this is probably 2008, 2009, was going down because all these people were defaulting on their mortgages, right? You don't need to track your finances or cash flow. What are you talking about? We're always doing that here. And then velocity banking is risk free, which it's not. And like any strategy, there's a risk to it, but it's a relatively easy strategy. And I'll just say this: the number one myth for me is to replace your mortgage with a HELOC immediately. Let's see what happens here.
Absolutely. That's one of the biggest myths, and potentially the most dangerous. Jumping straight into replacing a mortgage with a HELOC can lead to unnecessary financial strain, especially since HELOCs have variable interest rates. Unlike a fixed-rate mortgage, HELOC rates can increase unexpectedly, which might result in higher payments than anticipated. 2. Mortgages often have lower rates. Fixed-rate mortgages usually offer better long-term stability compared to the fluctuating nature of HELOCs. 3. Tax advantages might be lost. Mortgage interest is often tax-deductible, while HELOC interest may not be, depending on how the funds are used. 4. It's not a one-size-fits-all strategy. Velocity banking is about cash flow optimization. Keeping a mortgage while leveraging a HELOC in small, calculated chunking, is often much more effective and safer. This myth oversimplifies the strategy and can set people up for failure if they don't fully understand how to manage the risks of a HELOC. It's great you recognize this as a key point to emphasize.
See, even ChatGPT knows that you don't replace a HELOC with a mortgage or a mortgage with a HELOC. You do the chunking, right? So let's go ahead and just demonstrate that. So, what is velocity banking? All it is a debt payoff strategy where you throw all your money into debt with the help of line of credit. And so, the big myth that you might see here is that you should replace your mortgage with a HELOC, right? In fact, I think I saw a video published, was it yesterday? Whoopsie. We'll call this the first lien HELOC, right? Published yesterday or about how you should do this. And I'm like, what are you talking about, right? So the next one, the alternative is just getting a second lien HELOC, meaning you don't replace your mortgage. And a lot of people have 3% interest rate mortgages, right? 3% interest. And so if you have a 3% interest and you're replacing this with the 8% HELOC, even though you have all these credit cards, you got to do the math and figure out what's the most optimal strategy. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to compare both scenarios with the first lien HELOC and the second lien HELOC, and just remember that the first lien HELOC is synonymous with replacing your mortgage, and then we're going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, right? And so with velocity banking, you don't have any savings, but you have something called cash flow. And the last step is once we move some debt into the line of credit, we're going to throw the entire 10,000 in there, take our expenses out, and rinse and repeat over and over again. So actually, let me delete this one here, make it easy. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to move everything. So how much debt do we have? Let me just do this right here and we calculate. So 5, 8, 15, 27, 30, 7, 10, 35, 12, 18, 25, 400. And so how much debt do we have? That's 592,000. So let's get a $600,000, okay, 8% line of credit, and move all the debt into the line of credit, including the mortgage, because that's the number one myth for me, which is if I go right here, which is you need to replace your mortgage with HELOC immediately, right? We're not going to do that, but we're going to show why we won't do that. So let's go ahead and do this. And let's do this, and then this is going to be 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, $100 of cash flow, but we didn't factor into the cost of using the line of credit to do this. So let's go ahead and do this. I2 plus 1 to get the next month's balance. It's the previous month's balance plus the previous month's interest minus our cash flow. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take the average daily balance and then we're going to multiply it by the interest rate times 0.08 divided by 12. And then we're going to copy and paste this, right? Copy and paste. All right. And I'm going to copy and paste. Okay. And then let's see how long it takes for us to pay off all of our debt using the full debt replacement using our home equity line of credit. Okay, so let's go ahead and sum up all the interest. So it's 245K in about 100, we'll say 112 months. So 245K, 112 months, and that's 245K of interest. Okay, so all right, so let's go ahead and copy and paste this. All right, so I'm going to copy and paste this and then right, first lien HELOC. So this is all of our debt. And then the other way that we can do it is what we call with the second lien HELOC, second lien. Okay, and then we just kind of pay off our debts pieces at a time. All right, and so instead of paying off all of our debt, including our mortgage and moving it into a line of credit, what we're going to do is start off with the credit cards first, and then the auto loan, and then the mortgage. Okay, so let me just do this first right here. So I think this is $167,000 of credit card debt. So it's 5, 8, 15, 27, 37, 10, 35, 12, 18. So how much credit card debt do we have? That's $167,000. So let's do this. We'll assume that we're not doing a first lien replacement, but instead, okay, we're doing it with, all right, just the credit cards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's going to be 5353.28 is our new cash flow right here. So 5353.28. Okay, so now I got to do is just copy and paste, right? So copy and paste, okay? And then we see that it takes how long to pay off the credit cards? Takes about 35 months, right? 35 months. Put a 0 right here. And how long to pay off the 35 months, or how much in interest? We'll say 20 grand of interest in 35 months, okay? So for the credit cards, again, we're doing it pieces now. 20K of interest in 30 months. Okay. Okay. All right. So now we got to do the auto loan. Okay. We're going to do the auto loan. And so let's just do this right here. And 20K. So 30 months. And yeah. Okay. So this is the auto loan. That's the, okay. So I'm going to do this right here. Plus 13121.89. And then what's our cash flow right now? Okay, our cash flow is an extra $460. And so now if I go down right here, okay, Control V. And so now it's 5813.58. Okay. And so now if we go here at 38 months, it's all paid off. And how much interest do we pay? Let's take a look. So it's probably from here to here. And let me go ahead and copy and paste this. And we're going to sum it up. So it's 157.79. That's the amount of interest that we paid. So, but including this interest too, 157.79. And so we paid about 2 grand of interest. We'll say 2.1. just to round up. So I'm going to go back here and then we'll say 38 months and 2.1 grand of interest. So auto, wait a minute. Did I screw up? Why did I put 20 month? Oh, 30. Okay. My bad. So this is, let me go back here. 2.1 grand of interest. And then 30, was it 38 months. 35 months and then 38 months. Why did I put 30 months? All right. So 35 months and then 38 months. Okay. So 38 months, right? And then I'm just going to go down right here. Okay. All right. So now, now it's time to do the mortgage. And then if we do the mortgage right here at 30, wait a minute. Did I screw up? I believe I did screw up. This should have been 35 months. So 35 months. Okay. My bad. I'm going a little bit crazy here. Sorry, folks. It should have been 11024.64. Okay. So now this gets paid off in about 37 months, right? So 37 months. And what we got to do here is ignore everything that I did here for now. This will be 0. And then we're going to go ahead and copy and paste this. And then this will be the interest that we paid, which will be about $121. So let me just go back here. 121. Okay. And it's about the same. So 2,000, we'll say 2,300. Okay. 2,300. All right. So go back here. So 2.3K. Okay. And then this is going to be 37 months. 37 months. All right. So 37 months, and then we are good. And now we do the pay off the mortgage. So let me go back here, and what we're in 37 months right now. Okay. And then now to figure out how long it's going to take to pay off the mortgage, we're going to use what we call the chunking method. So this is what ChatGPT was also referring to as well. Where does it say chunking? Somewhere. Yeah. Velocity banking is about cash flow optimization. Keeping a mortgage while leveraging a HELOC in small calculated chunks is much more effective and safer. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to pay it off in small chunks. So give me one moment to pull out the velocity banking calculator. All right. So now all I got to do is just fill in the information of velocity banking calculator. So let's just go ahead and do that right here. So $400,000 original balance. The current balance is 373,425.67. 373,425.67. The interest rate is 30 years, and it's 1686.42. 1686.42. And then what's our income? Our income is probably something insanely high, $10,000. So it's going to be 10000. And then our living expenses is everything except for the loan we're trying to pay off, which is 2,500. And what's an appropriate chunk amount? Just a small amount that's similar to your income is a good rule of thumb. And then so now we pay that off in 4.5 years, and we'll use 28 grand. Okay, 28 grand as the interest that accrued. So what we're going to do is just right here, we're going to round up to make the math easy. 28,000. Okay, so 63 grand. So we'll say 64 grand because I'm going to round a little bit up. 64 grand. So mortgage, 64K of interest. All right. And how long did it take for us to pay off? So it's 37 months plus 4.5 years. So it's 37 divided by 12 plus 4.5, which is 7.58 years. Okay, 7.58 years. All right. So now, all right, so let's go ahead and calculate the interest. So the total interest and total interest which is 245K. Oopsie. And then this one right here is 20 plus 2.3 plus 64. That's 86 point, we'll say 87, yeah, 86.3K of interest. And then what's the time? All right, so total time to pay off, right? So total time, 112 months divided by 24, no, divided by, not 24, 12, which is 9.33 years. And then this one is 7.58. And so as you can see here, you save a lot. 245 minus 86.3, that's 150K, 150K savings for not using a first lien HELOC. And how much time do we save? Which is 9.33 minus 7.58. So that would be 1.75 years. And so again, we're paying a crapola of interest just by using a first lien HELOC and replacing all of our debt here. And this is why this one right here is you need to replace your mortgage with the HELOC immediately is like the number one velocity banking myth for me. In fact, let me just ask final question, ChatGPT. Why do YouTubers promote the first lien HELOC even though if you do the math and replace a 3% mortgage with a 8% first lien HELOC, you overpay more than 100K of interest than if you had just done the chunking method?
Many YouTubers promote first lien HELOCs for a few reasons, often tied to overselling the idea without fully understanding or explaining the long-term math. 1. It sounds simple and attractive. Replace your mortgage entirely. Sounds easier to understand than teaching chunking or cash flow management. It feels like a one-step solution which appeals to a broader audience. 2. Commission ties or partnerships. Some creators have partnerships with HELOC lenders and get referral fees or commissions, incentivizing them to promote first lien HELOCs even when it's not the best financial move. 3. Misleading math. They often highlight the flexibility of HELOCs like interest-only payments without showing the compounding effects of higher interest over time. This creates a perception of savings when in reality the higher rates lead to massive overpayment. 4. Lack of customization for viewers. Many fail to tailor advice to different situations. For someone with a 3% fixed mortgage, replacing it with an 8% HELOC doesn't make sense unless they have significant cash flow, discipline, and a specific plan to quickly pay it down. 5. Cash flow versus total interest confusion. They overemphasize the cash flow improvement from HELOCs, lower minimum payments, no escrow, etc., without considering the total interest paid. This misleads viewers into thinking they're saving when they're actually paying more. Why chunking works better. With chunking, you keep the low 3% mortgage and use the HELOC strategically to pay down chunks of principal. Your 8% HELOC is only used temporarily, not for the full balance, drastically reducing how much interest you pay overall. The numbers don't lie. Chunking focuses on efficiency by balancing cost and cash flow, while first lien HELOCs unnecessarily gamble with high rates. Promoting the first lien HELOC blindly oversimplifies the strategy, which is likely why these YouTubers often fail to acknowledge its long-term flaws. Would you want to explore ways to emphasize this distinction in your presentations or videos?
You see, folks, even the AI knows. Okay, well, that's it for today, folks. So I'm quite sleepy, but who knows if I crank out another video today or not. So that's it. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else other than first lien HELOC is kind of like the number one red flag for me. All right, or number one myth or lie. Have a great day, everybody, and I'll see you all in the next video. This is Crane Atlanta Mentorship.